Okay, I've got an annoying light on the dashboard, and that is a blown bulb light on the left-hand side here. On my own, I checked the bulbs best as I could. All seemed okay, and the bulb wouldn't go out. So, onto one of the CADDY forums on Facebook, and they said, when you're going to miss, it'll be that tail, the revert, oh Dave, it'll be the rear number plate light. One of those, that's what it'll be, you've missed it. Sure enough, I had. So I ordered a couple of new ones. Now, there's no wiring to these. You undo the 2 screws, you take the little unit out, those bulbs go in on a spring fitting, you can see that. And if you look either side of the bulb, you can see 2 other springs. They're what locate that little light unit back into place and then make contact to the wiring itself. So just be gentle when you put them. I'll just slow this down so you can see. So the bulbs spring into place, and there's those 2 clips either side. Push the unit back up when you've fitted the bulb. Locate the little light unit back up and then refit those 2 screws, which you haven't done yet. Job done, problem solved. Actually, the problem wasn't solved because the bloody lights on the dash stayed on. So I thought, well, the only other bulbs I didn't check were the brake lights because I was on my own. So with the help of the handily sized length of wood, pressing on the brake pedal, wedged against the front of the driver's seat, I realised neither brake lights were working, only the high level one. Now to change the bulbs in this model, it's Mark IV CADDY 2016, you've got to take the rear light cluster out, which is really becoming a thing on cars. Quite annoying really. You've got to take the rear light cluster out to access the bulb. So that shield, that cover just unclips by hand. Now I'm fastidious and I'm making this car fit for sale how I'd want to buy it. So a lot of the videos we're doing, it's just as we go along, prepping this car for sale. It's my son's car, it's my son's van, so I'm cleaning it out as we go. I like things clean when I'm working on vehicles anyway. So I'm going to give that a quick hoover out. And then there's 2 Torx bolts that hold that cluster in place, or they've actually allowed for a large flat-bladed screwdriver. So if you haven't got a Torx bolt, just a relatively average, relatively wide-bladed screwdriver will remove those bolts. That's pretty handy. So we'll pop those out. Now the unit's held in by 2 other lugs, and you've got to push the light cluster away from the boot, if that makes sense. Just bang it across. There's 1 up and 1 below. That's it. You've now freed the light unit. You'll see when we take it out, it's like a ball joint, a ball and socket. So if we get the van door out of the way and go off on our travels, just have a look. So there's no point wrestling it. You've just got to bang it across to the outside edge of the van, and you'll have a look. Now the next thing is the wiring harness. Just got to unclip that block. It is really fiddly. It looks like you need to get a screwdriver in there and sort of release the clip. You've just got to pull it off, wriggle it off. It can be quite tight, but it will come off. Push and pull really. And there's the next step. We've got to unclip and unscrew the actual back of the casing. So here we are. Oh yeah, there's me giving it a good clean because again, why not? You've got it out. It's filthy dirty from however long it's since it's been cleaned or actually been removed. Again, let's use some cleaning wipes, get it clean. So we split the house and we've got the back off, and the next job is to sort out what's going on and why those bulbs aren't actually working. So the screws are out, a couple of little plastic clips, and you've released the back housing, really, the bit that actually holds those bulbs. So when we take them out, we've got a problem if you haven't noticed which bulbs weren't working. So pay attention when you do a little test, which of the bulbs aren't working, hence the brake light bulbs, we know where they are. Now have a look in there. This is the same both sides on both units. The contact is really sort of corroded looking, and the end of the bulb that makes contact is crushed or even melted looking. It's just really badly ground and sort of worn away. But the contact itself was quite corroded. It was coated in sort of verdigris or whatever. So I don't know what's going on there, but that to me looks like the culprit, especially when you examine the bulbs themselves, and both of them, the filaments look absolutely fine. To the human eye, you can't tell. So I think it's a contact error. So new bulbs need to go in, but first off, of course, we want to get that contact clean. So I'm using a very small flat bladed screwdriver that's pretty sharp on the edge, and I'm literally just going to scratch all that coating off, get it back to shiny metal, and then just spray a little bit of electrical contact cleaner on there just to give it a final clean before we fit the new bulbs. Okay, now reassemble your light clusters. Pretty obvious, I'm sure. Pop the backs back on, pop the clips in, and do up those little screws. That done, let's get the lights back in. So first, attach your electrical connector, and then remember you've got to slide the light across. So you're putting it into place slightly to the right on this side of the van, and then just tapping it across to the left to relocate those two lugs that are holding it in there. The black bobbles sticking out of the van. So get it lined up. We faff about less than I'm doing. Get it lined up and just tap it across, and that's it, it's held in. Now you've just got to put the two screws, those two Torx headed screws, back into place. That's going to hold the whole unit in, so then the light unit's in, it's all wired up, the bulbs are replaced, and then we're going to refit the cover. So we're just going to do those bolts up. I'm going to skip ahead now because you know how to put two bolts in that you took out. Now that's done, the screws are in, we're just going to re-clip that cover in. On this side of the van, or a van with an up and over door, not two barn doors, it's easy. Line it up, get it just behind the rubber seal, get it lined up, and it will just clip into place by hand. easy peasy. The other side of a van with these kind of doors has an electrical cable coming through into the door to feed things like your number plate lights, etc. And that's an absolute pig. It's like a silly Chinese a Chinese puzzle. So we'll see what I mean here. We've got the light back in now on both sides. You've got a little cutout in that trim. And there's not a lot of stretch on that cable. And it's kind of like one of those silly puzzles. I'm sure there's people watching this and think, oh, God, Dave, you just do it like this. It takes 30 seconds. But an absolute fiddly swine to get it off. It's easy to unclip it, but actually to get it off around that cable is ridiculous. Putting it back on wasn't as hard. But look at it. It is quite a fiddly job to get it into place in the right position to clip it back into place, working around that ruddy cable. But anyway, you'll work it out and then the job is done. Lo and behold, both lower brake lights are now working as they should. More importantly, that ruddy light on the dash has gone out. Problem solved.